Hi guys, it's been a very long time since I've done a video of what I've been painting. That's not to say I haven't been painting, it's just I haven't done a video. But recently I acquired an army from a friend of mine who he used to collect a very long time ago. It had been sat in his loft for a very long time. It's an Imperial Guard army, mostly Chans. And with 6th edition I thought I'd take the opportunity to do an army, Imperial Guard army for the rest of the guys that come over to play to use. Basically it's going to be kind of like a club army, kind of, obviously still mine. But these are some of the miniatures I've been painting. So this is a Primaris Cypher. The main colour scheme for the the Chans is a dark camo green and red. But obviously because of the nature of the Cypher, I wanted to make sure he stood out. So we painted him mainly with a dark red and used the accent colours for the Chans, like camo green. Lots of gold, lots of metallics. You'll see there on his the sockets there's some purple, just to show like how bruised and rough the area is. He's got no pupils, the usual kind of Cypher look about him. So that's him right there. Cables all going to him. I'm not sure how old this sculpt is. I don't think it's very old. I don't think it's 2nd edition, but perhaps early 3rd, that sort of era, because the newer ones are much nicer. Used to have this sort of clumsy looking skull up here. It looks a bit tacky, not very good. It's really weird, this miniature. The detail on the face is excellent, really crisp, and then you get down to parts like this belt buckle area and the trim of the bottom of the robes, and it's really not great at all. So that's the Cypher. Next up is Vindicare Assassin. Now this guy was the main bodysuit for him was airbrushed, so it was a black undercoat and then a light German grey and then slightly lighter dark sea grey, though Vallejo air colour. I wanted to keep him overall a very dark looking miniature, but then have something very striking. The visor here is Tamiya clear red over a white background, just to give like a very striking, it probably doesn't necessarily come across on the camera, but you can get that sort of natural lens sort of effect there. The weapons are black. It's a very dark muted steel colour for the rest of the weapons. Leathers are a dark brown, and then you've got a lot of dark washes on the brass, obviously for the weapon cases. Again, the red is an accent colour that's going through the army. It's on most of the miniature. Well, it'll be on most of the miniatures. So that's this guy. I quite like him here. He was very quick to paint. It took maybe an hour max to put him together with the washes and the highlights. There are very fine line highlights that kind of got faded out with the camera, as I always do. I'm not great with the camera. I think it's sort of steals some of the detail from the miniature, but it's not bad for quite an old model. I mean, this is late 90s, early 2000s, so it's again quite an old miniature. Then now this is old school. This is a very old Imperial Guard miniature from 2nd edition, easily mid 90s. An Imperial Guard commander of some description, not sure rank, maybe a lieutenant. This is kind of the scheme that the majority of the guardsmen will be, which is the flesh. I initially went for the Talon flesh with the old foundation colours, but I found the skin looked really, really ropey, so I had to go back in using P3 colours. Cardic flesh, that's the base tone, and then it's highlighted up with the next stage of this flesh colour. I'm not sure what it is, I don't have it to hand. This is the new paints from Citadel. This is their new sort of base camo green. Then it's washed with a particular wash they've got for it now, and again the name escapes me. I'm getting used to the new names. The boots are all German grey, black grey, all washed with non-oil, I think is the new name. And again, you see there it's had a very light glaze on the top of the head with a grey, just to give sort of that shaved. Oh, there we go, getting back in focus. That sort of shaved look. A little bit of gold, some scratches on the armour plating parts, just to make it look like it's armour, and then this lovely old bolt gun. The side of the weapon is going to be black with edge highlights of grey, so that's pretty cool. And finally this guy, I don't know, I have a feeling he is not the oldest of the Sly Marlborough models. He might be the second one, but as you see here, he's got a lot of cuts, scars, These were done with rose pink from the Vallejo model range, then washed with Leviathan purple. Again, that's all coloured the accent red, the dark tone. I wanted to have the white shirt that would make him stand out. The rest of the normal troopers won't have white shirts, purely because it's really time consuming to paint. And again, darker colours, very simple. Browns for the pouches and stuff like that, and again a very dark looking silver. I imagine this guy is kind of a stealth fighter, so he would have dark. He wouldn't, he'd darken the metallics that he was wearing. Simple grenades and things like that. He was okay. He wasn't a bad miniature. The face is awful. The sculpt for the face is terrible. I don't know. That is a really bad sculpt. His eyes are not level. You can see that. His eyes are wonky. Huge mouth. I don't know what was going on there. He's got stubble on the face. Again, that's another grey wash. I had it fresh from when I was doing the other miniature. So those are the Imperial Guard guys. And the majority of the army is the old metal Cassachans. I've got some plastics, not too many, but the old ones. And I really want to sort of go with that Vietnam trope that they've got going on. So there'll be some Valkyries, probably some Hellhounds, so that called a flamethrower thing. I've got some snipers. I want some of the heavy weapon teams. But the other thing I've been painting recently is Infinity miniatures. I really like the Japanese sectorial army. So these guys are just from the Infinity range. Let's see if I can get this one in focus. Now, these are beautiful miniatures. They are very detailed. Unfortunately, the camera's kind of killing any kind of really subtle highlights I've got. But the blending on these took forever. And they go from a very deep green all the way up to a really light green, but it doesn't seem to appear on camera. Again, the same for the black. The black isn't a black at all, actually. It's a really dark grey worked up to a really light grey. Again, that sort of dark steel, but with a very fine highlight on the edge, which you can probably see here reflecting from the window outside. Just on the edge there, there's a really fine highlight. This, I believe, is a hacker ninja. I haven't actually played, I just love the miniatures. I've not played the game yet, so I'm not sure what counts as what. Oh, there we go, it's a bit better with the focus. Sorry if the rest of it's all been out of focus. I'm still struggling with this camera, even after having it for over a year. So yeah, these are great miniatures. That's one of the ninjas. Again, this is another one of the ninja clan. She, I believe, holds a higher rank. These are painted just as close as I could get to the pictures that you get on the cards that are supplied with the miniatures when you buy them. It was a really nice colour scheme. I had no reason to sort of deviate from that. It goes really well with the miniatures. I actually had some sectorials. I don't know if I've done a video on those guys before. If I have, they're actually in Dettol at the moment stripping, because I'm going to do them exactly as they are on the box art instead of how I had them before as a dark red. They are insanely good miniatures, actually. And finally, this guy is a work in progress, but he is one of the special characters, or mercenaries, I think they are. If you can see there, that's something he has on the box art, which is the yin yang symbol with two dragons circling it, and that was a real pain to paint because the only brush I had at the time was a really nice P3 fine studio brush, which is probably about a 0 or a 1. This brush, an odd thing about the P3 series, I'm just going to put this guy down for the moment because he's a work in progress, so he doesn't have too much detail on him. But I'll just give you a bit more of a rotation before I do. There you can see there's bits still to be done, the pistol and things like that, and the blade's not really been painted. So he's a work in progress. Yes, P3 brushes. This P3 brush came in a plastic case like this. It is one of the best, well, one of the better brushes I've bought from one of the big hobby suppliers, one of the big miniature manufacturers. Again, that was the case it came in. So I was really thoroughly impressed with this brush, actually. Really good tip. I mean, it's held its tip for a really long time. I've had this for about 9 months. Yeah, I think I got it just before Christmas, actually. So 9 months. Holds a tip really well. Brilliant brush. So I thought, I know what I'll do. I'll buy some more. I'll buy another one, sort of as a backup, and a really fine detail brush. Now these came in a really flimsy plastic case, and they're terrible. They're a real departure from the quality of the other ones. This doesn't hold its tip very well at all. Bear in mind this is exactly the same. I'll show you exactly the same. Studio work brush. They're both studio work brushes. Bad tip, good tip. Okay. This fine studio brush, it's terrible. It really does not hold a point very well. The ends part really easily when you're painting. I found it really hard to get really accurate thin lines. I have bought Winsor & Newton Series 7, really good brushes, and definitely the similar kind of price range actually for the same size brush. You can see that, there you go, look, that's already started to bend off to the side, and you get a little bit of paint on that. You're trying to do some eyes or some really fine detail, some script work. That the tip just doesn't stay where you want it to stay. It just flops around like nobody's, but doesn't keep an accurate point. I have contacted P3 about it, and they apologised and said they would feed the comments back to the hobby manager. But I have to say, I wouldn't buy these brushes again. I didn't think they were that. The second time around, the flimsier cases, instead of this sort of hard plastic case here, the flimsier cases, I wouldn't bother. I think they might have changed manufacturers. They are. This is well above. This is my original one. This is well above the quality of GW brushes by a mile. This is approximately as good as GW brushes, and I wouldn't buy them again. I think I paid about £6 to £7 for this. I would go for the Winsor & Newton, especially if you're going to keep them in good condition. Using products like the Vallejo brush restorer, that kind of thing. You use it regularly, keep the brushes in really good condition, keep the ferrule clean, keep the fibres, the bristles really clean. Make sure you use things like brush soap, because it is an investment. You're paying £7 or £8. These are the tools that, if these aren't good quality, then your miniature isn't good quality, essentially. So yeah, that's avoid those crappy P3 brushes. Stump for Winsor & Newton, or if you're just gonna, burn through a lot of miniatures and get stuff painted, go for the GW stuff, a bit cheaper. Quality is slightly worse, but not that bad. I've never found ever since GW went from red handle to blue handles, it went downhill. The black handle stuff's a little bit better, but the blue handle stuff was really poor quality. Anyway, I think I've ranted long enough, kept enough of you guys watching this. So yeah, tell me what you want to see more of. I've got some Eldar coming. I cannot wait to do a new Eldar army. As soon as the GW release the flyers, you'll be seeing some of the flyers from me. I'm really psyched about the new 6th edition, purely because I like that whole cinematic sort of feel to the game. You'll see some Eldar from me. I hope they release new jet bikes soon, the ones that Jez Gooden had with him as prototypes. They're going to be the colour scheme that they used in the Imperial Armour book. Now, I've already done one. You've seen the flyer. If you haven't, you can check my previous videos. You can see the prism cannon. I've actually got 2 Warwalkers that I've done recently. That's with the old colour Swimming Hook Turquoise. This is the new triad that they've got. I really want to give these guys a go on some infantry. I haven't painted any infantry yet. I think the darker colour will be really good for the undersuits. You'll be seeing some of that as soon as the GW flyers come out. The new Elder one comes out, which I've read of rumours about online. You'll be seeing that as quickly as possible. And again, once they release a new Eldar Codex or some new Eldar miniatures, hopefully the jet bikes. I really want to do a very fast skimmer army. I like the whole idea of chariots, so hopefully they're going to upgrade Vipers to chariots, have carrots on the back. That whole thing, really looking forward to it. So this will be the colour scheme, this with the white or black as the accent. So yes, subscribe if you haven't subscribed. Keep tuned. There will be some more painting coming up, some more models. I'm actually going to try and do a sort of a painting, not a painting guide, but you see people do sort of walkthroughs of how they paint things. I'm hoping to get the camera set up in such a way that I can do that. So yeah, thanks for listening to me ramble for ages. Thanks.